Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? Um, it is Friday, which means it's Feedback Friday. And for some reason, I didn't load my Elgato Stream Deck. There we go. Boom. How's everyone doing? What's up, Eidolon? Cindy, old school, what's going on? What's going on? I see some of you have already submitted to the raffle. I am planning on being live for quite some time today to kind of make up for some of the missed hours while I was sick. Getting on a flight to London in a few hours. Nice. What are you doing in London? Work or leisure? What's up, Braham? Ooh, nice. Have fun in Italy, man. I've been to Italy once before, and I gained quite a bit of weight there, so I know. I would be surprised if that happened to you too. Man, the food is fire, but yes, very calorically dense. But anyways, why don't we just dive straight into it? Damn, I can't talk right now. Let's choose a winner, and yeah, let's listen to our first track of the day. All right, look at that rigged system. I need to retrack basically everything. All right, no worries. Let's check it out. See what you got.
Satin sheets cover my head. The world is louder in my bed, and my hollow window creaks. I haven't dreamt for weeks.
I don't know the original, but
and my eyes are open wide. Imagine faces in the night. They disappear when I blink, and reappear when I drift to sleep.
Is this that's your voice, I'm guessing, right? Is this our first time hearing your voice for Feedback Friday?
Shadows dance around my walls. They play tricks on me all night long.
What's
they
up,
just
Safara?
wanna see me run, but I lie awake waiting for the sun to greet my drowsy face, as moonlit beams made out of lace make their way up on my skin, and the night has only just began. I can't breathe
I like the processing
anymore, and I can't see in the dark, but I can feel my heart jump around inside my bones.
I heard that too for a moment, Raham.
All my wildest fears, and I'm scared of what I'll find, of what's inside my mind. I can't breathe anymore, and I can't see in the dark, but I can feel my heart jump around inside my bones. Oh no, I can't breathe anymore, and I can't see in the dark, but I can feel my heart jump around inside my bones. And as the darkness fades and the sun greets my drowsy face, I get up to live my day till it goes away.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know the original, like I said earlier, so I can't really take that into account here, but solid work. I like the vocal processing a lot. The structure makes a lot of sense. I like the arrangement. Yeah, obviously with your voice being essentially the biggest part of the song, I think that would be the biggest thing to focus on, making improvements on. I think the rest of like everything outside of your voice, I think is basically like good enough, I would say. So there's not really much I would change there. But yeah, if you're obviously going for kind of like more of a pop, like mostly acoustic pop arrangement type thing, then basically I think the place to focus for any improvements would be your vocal performance. And I think like, listen, I'm no expert on this. You know, I've had like, I briefly had a vocal coach years ago, so like, you know, I learned some basics about, you know, your like the anatomy relevant to singing, and you know, like a few basic practicing techniques and performance techniques. And so I know some basics, but like I'm certainly not some kind of expert authority when it comes to vocal performances. But that being said, I think like the biggest thing I would say is that it felt a little bit kind of like a rehearsed performance. It felt like it wasn't kind of like a stream of consciousness, kind of like a thing. It felt a little bit like it sounded like you could hear you focusing on like reading the lyrics maybe, or focusing on hitting the right pitches correctly, you know, whatever it may be. It kind of felt a little bit too rigid in that sense. So it would be really nice to, because you do have a great voice. So I think like it's really cool to hear it more exposed like this. And I would really encourage you to, try to make it feel even more natural. And I know it's hard because like I've learned this from my own voice. Sorry, one of my friends is calling me. I've learned from like trying to incorporate my voice into my music. Not being I'm not a great singer. I can only use my voice in kind of like somewhat limited ways. But I've learned that. What have I learned? I forgot what I was going to say. It's just it's difficult, you know, to balance all those different things. Not just in terms of like the vocal, but then also like with the composition and the production, whatever sound design and mixing is involved. So yeah, anyways, I really like it. And I think that I would love for you to, unless that's the style you're going for, I think a little bit more, something that feels more intimate and like where you can kind of feel there's little things that I think are different between, let's say, something that feels like a something more rehearsed and like almost like a speech that you're giving or something, or a lecture, versus a stream of consciousness kind of talking, and I would just say that it would be nice to have a little bit more of that kind of like stream of consciousness feeling to it. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, honestly, with vocals, I think it's one of the vocals are interesting because, like, we've obviously evolved with hearing that is finely tuned to be able to hear voices extremely well for a good reason. We're very sensitive to that frequency range, and to reference, for example, like Virtual Riot's recent video on like the Fletcher Munson curve. It's he goes on a tangent about like his speculation on why we're sensitive to those frequency ranges, and it's kind of common sense in a sense, right? Like where it just would make a lot of sense that we would have evolved to be sensitive to that frequency range that our voice sits in. And it's really, there's a lot of things that go into, I think, vocal performance that you might not be used to being aware of if you come from a more of a production background, because that's how I felt, at least personally, when I started singing. Was like, okay, for me, it was in the beginning, it was like, okay, hitting the right pitches, saying the right words and all that kind of stuff. But then like the difference between that and then, just hitting the right pitches and like saying the right words at the right time and stuff like that, the difference between that and a good performance is actually pretty large. Because once you have it kind of internalized, like what's happening melodically and how the muscle memory and like the breathing techniques that you need in order to perform the song in a particular way, once that's internalized, then your intuition can kind of take over a little bit, and it can be a little bit more free flowing, and it feels less rigid. So anyways, that's all I got to say there. I have EDM brain. Yeah, listen, I feel you on that, but I'm also just describing like, my personal observations there. So feel free to ignore if you want, but thanks for sharing. Let's move on to the next person. What's up, Josta? What's going on? Man, I still have like a little bit of sinus BS going on. Yo. All right, what do we have here? Intrusive thoughts. Very cool. Love it. Yeah, great arrangement, good production. Um, it feels very yeah, like a really convincing piece of music. I wouldn't be upset if this came up on my like Spotify Discover Weekly or something like that. I'm trying to think about suggestions on improvements. I think that one thing that struck me as a little bit well, something worth considering is I think some of these bass sounds they're mixed in nicely, but I don't feel like they're foreshadowed enough to warrant being there like currently. I think that this breakdown here is probably a great moment to try to find a way to build some momentum and kind of like give the listener a little bit more information on like where you're taking them. So, because up until this point, like obviously it's got like a little bit of a garage vibe, a garage vibe, whatever. It's garage, whatever. It's very down tempo is my point. And it doesn't feel like anything's like implying that it's gonna get kind of like a bit more aggressive here. So, there's the surprise factor, which can be cool. But for me personally, I think it would be cool to just kind of foreshadow some of that sound design. So, for example, that downbeat thing here, that. So maybe throw that on this downbeat here, but like, EQ'd kind of so it's like kind of like a mid-pass type thing. With a bunch of, like reverb or echo or something like, so it's kind of like more in the background of the mix, but you kind of hear it and you're introducing it as a new element that way. I'm trying to think of other ideas. That violin thing is really sick too. So, yeah, okay, so you're foreshadowing the violin here a bit, which is nice. I almost wonder if maybe that should be foreshadowed here a little bit too. But another thing that could be cool to help kind of prepare the listener for the section 2 is, just incorporate even more of the phrasing and the bass sound design in this build. So not just that downbeat, but there's that little like dum dum dum. Have some element. It could even be that same element, but just kind of like mid pass or something like that. In this little down, this breakdown here. So it could be like, just like little things like that. I think are cool because then you've already kind of made the listener aware that like, hey, this pattern, this rhythm is something new that I want you to pay attention to. And I think it would just help with that transition into this heavier section. But yeah, just some food for thought. Let's see what else we got here. Excuse me. I like how the piano goes to reversed here, by the way. That's a nice touch. Probably not something that a casual listener will pay much attention to, but I thought it was fun. I'm thinking about, like, this probably doesn't matter very much, but I almost wish that, like, that vocal phrase was used here instead of this new one, but I don't want to fall in love. I just want to have some fun. It's fine to switch it up. I guess I personally don't feel like the lyrics match the vibe quite as much. Like, I'm kind of thinking about, like, you know, like the Burial style of vocal sampling where it's kind of got this R&B flair. And I think that the I Want to Feel Your Hands All Around is much more like, it's got that kind of like intimacy, romantic flair to it, but it's not as I don't know. I just like it more, I guess. But either way, not super important. Just a kind of a personal little anecdote there. And I thought it was a nice touch here to switch things up again. I was just kind of thinking maybe you could extend this section a bit. Yeah. Anyways, I really like the track. It's really cool. I feel like you're taking listeners on an interesting journey here that feels pretty unexpected. Like, when I first started the track, definitely thought that you're going to stay within this kind of like more lo-fi. I don't know if Burial is really the best example. There's probably way better examples for artists with kind of like a similar sound. But either way, I thought you were going to stay in this kind of like more down-tempo, chill kind of vibe. And I thought it was cool that you kind of took some risks and took the listener on a little bit more of a journey. So that's dope. Appreciate you sharing that. I almost would just chop up I Don't Want to Fall in Love. Yeah, for sure. That could work too. Great feedback and ideas as always. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Keep us in the loop. Let us know in the Haywyre Discord or something if you end up releasing this one. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we got? What's up, Virtual Snow? Good to see you here. Oh, tell me why I am suddenly feeling fatigued, even though I had a quad shot of like a quad shot latte like just 3 hours ago. This flu is still dragging me down with it. Cool. It's a track I've been working on for my album called Manifest. All right. No worries. No worries. Needed a quint shot. Dude, they would literally be like, no, we are not legally allowed to serve you that. Actually, what is the limit? There's got to be a limit, right? That's interesting. I've never thought about that because, like, obviously bartenders, you know, they have to play it by ear when to cut someone off. So it's kind of like a case-by-case basis. I don't think there's, like, a hard limit. But I think it might be... I think with caffeine, you can order as much as you want, technically. But I feel like there should be a limit, right? What is it? You're only supposed to have something like 300 milligrams at most per day. So, I don't know. All right, let's check this out. I'm liking it so far. Yo, what's up, Caden? Thank you for the sub. Hopefully you got something for us to listen to. Very cool. I'm getting like, mostly, what would you call it? Like synthwave, Kavinsky type vibes, maybe a little bit of a Justice vibe in there too, which is nice. It's cool. It's a cool journey. I kind of wish I could see the waveform. It's one of the downsides of using Google Drive is like, I don't know. I like being able to see the waveform because then I can more easily pick out sections of the song. So it's going to be a little bit harder for me to give proper feedback. In general, I'd say your writing feels good. I think the arrangement feels good. And in my opinion, if I were to think of the one thing that feels like it's gonna potentially help you the most, I would say that you could really benefit from some production flair. I think that having, with writing like this and a sound design like this, that's largely, let's say, how should I put it? It's this isn't meant to sound negative. It's a bit like let's say repetitive in like a way that like makes it easy to groove to, right? The same way that like a lot of EDM is repetitive, right? It's not a bad thing. Repetitiveness can be good. And make something familiar by being repetitive. But you have kind of like a limited number of elements, and they're kind of evolving and changing throughout the song, and that's great. I think the you've nailed the vibe and the arrangement and all of that. So I think you're fine from that perspective. When it comes to production flair, though, it's these little things. It's like transient shaping and like the types of saturation you use on different sounds, and how you choose to mix down your final song, how you choose to master your final song. All those little things are creative choices, and I think that if you were to take a song like this, give it to I don't know, 10 different mixing and mastering engineers, you'd end up with 10 different songs in a way. And this is how I feel about it personally. I really see mixing and mastering as kind of like a creative process more so than some objective like I'm just going to make sure this sounds as similar across all devices and platforms as possible kind of thing. I think a lot of the decisions that go into this is my personal opinion. Maybe that's more of a mixing thing, but I feel that those can be seen as creative choices as well. And I really think that is like a frontier that you would benefit greatly from diving deeper into. I think a lot of the sounds that you're using, the mix is great. There's nothing that feels like really out of place or offensive. Things are flowing from one section to the next pretty nice. There's kind of like that moment in there in the middle that draws your attention with the synth, like this bass synth, couple of synths, like riffing off without the drums, and like there's some cool stuff happening, but at the end of the day I think just like experimentation, polish, ear candy from a production standpoint, those are things that are going to bring out more of your personal characteristics, your personal choices, and your the things that you appreciate in music more. So bring it on, man. That's a fun area to dive into, even if it can be a bit tedious. But it's one of those things that really brings the next level to an artist production. So that's really the biggest thing I would throw your way. All right. That being said, totally understand. Thank you for your feedback. Yeah, of course. All right, y'all. Let's roll on to the next one. Man, I think I still have this freaking flu. What's up, Noxel? Cause like, the hell, I'm like feeling kind of like sleepy. I don't know. But yeah, what's going on, Noxel? You got something for us to listen to? I'm sorry for whoever has to follow this. You must have really liked that song, huh? Moogard. Noxel's got a banger. Let's see. We'll give you a little bit of time. We know Noxel is most likely here. I gotta blow my nose real quick. One moment, y'all. We might have to come back to Senor Noxel. So let's re-roll for now, and I'm sure Nox will be back. What's up, Opal Wins? Good to see you here. What's poppin'? You got something for us to listen to today? Oh, you have a song called Ever Changing. Cool. I do too. All right, we're 1 week at a time. We're listening through your entire album. Take us. Very cool. Looks like we got a little outro here. Definitely a journey. Cool. I just saw that this is available on Bandcamp, so felt like I should make a quick mandatory shout out because I feel like Bandcamp is the first music-centric platform I've heard of that has made an effort to ban AI music. So I respect that a lot, that they drew the line somewhere. How they're going to enforce that, we'll see. But anyways, back to your song. Really unique. I especially love the first half of the song. These first 3 minutes are awesome. I also like this little section here. Really cool. There were a few things I noticed. But first, let me try to, before I start just like critiquing things, I wanted to just make sure, like, I feel like the song as a whole is great. It's a journey, really fun arrangement, really cool production stuff, a lot of great granular synthesis, things going on, and definitely like keeps you guessing and wondering, like, oh, where is this going to go next? And I love music like that. But the beginning is strong. You have like kind of this rhythmic piano chop going on. And then you have this little kind of like, it feels like a build section essentially, where you have like this Reese sub thing. As a listener, I expected to hear wherever you're kind of taking us in the beginning of the song, to start to basically skip this entire section that you have here, like from 58 to 120 or so. To me, felt like slightly redundant, in the sense that like, the impact and this vibe switch of kind of like hitting this like resub kind of thing here and then like starting to build tension like that. Love it. But this section here from like 57 onwards to 120 or so, it kind of felt like it was just doing the same thing twice, without kind of like incorporating enough new elements to kind of warrant it being there. That's just my personal opinion. I almost would have liked to have like this section here pop in there, which, by the way, this is probably my favorite part of the song. It's really cool. I like that kind of like this stuttered sampling kind of feeling, and it's like cycling through these different chords. Really cool. So yeah, I love the A-B pattern there too. That's a great choice. Love me some A-B drops. Excuse me. Damn, I really thought I was feeling a lot better today. I thought I was gonna stream longer. I'm gonna try to get through as many as I can, but I'm not feeling super hot at the moment. Let's see. I want to keep exploring if there's anything else that came to mind. I love this little section here. I don't know why it reminds me. Obviously, people mentioned Amanu. It also reminds me a little bit of like some Foley work. Maybe you'd hear in like a Tennyson track or something. It's really really cool to play around with the environment that the listener feels they're in. And once you kind of, when you do things like this, it kind of becomes a little bit meta in a way. It feels like you're taking the listener to a different like plane as a listener. But anyways, this section here. It's very cool, and I do like it. I guess in terms of like, for me, you've kind of set a certain level of energy in the song here, and that feels roughly like the first drop, if you don't mind me using kind of like that terminology. But for like a second drop, this feels a little bit like I think it feels slightly underwhelming just because we've already heard something that feels a bit more energetic in comparison. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's totally fine to kind of like subvert the listener's expectations a bit and play around with that. So, take or leave that thought if you, do what you wish with that thought. But that was just a feeling that I had. And the only other thing I would say too is that I do love a lot of this. The outro, the piano here at the end is really cool. And then it kind of, to me, feels like the song is actually already over here. And then there's this additional kind of piece that, or another outro that happens here. Which honestly almost feels like a different song just started. Even though it's in a similar key or the same key. And this is cool too. It sounds great. But I personally feel like it wasn't necessarily adding enough to warrant being there. That's just my personal feeling. It's already, you've already taken us on a big journey, and like, I think it'd be different. Let's say, for example, if this was accompanied with some kind of visual storytelling, like an animated video or something, and there is some significance to this section from a storytelling perspective. That'd be different. And I'd be like thinking of the entire thing very differently, obviously. But just strictly from a musical standpoint, to me, it kind of felt like the song was done here. But that's just my opinion. I don't have any issue. I love listening to long songs. So I got no issue with that whatsoever. But that's just how it felt. It felt natural to me to consider this basically the end. So that's all I got for you. Thanks for sharing, man. I always look forward to listening to your music because it feels very it's an adventure. You never know what you're going to get yourself into. And it's cool. Let's let's roll on to the next one. Thanks, Opal. What's up, Simons? What you got for us? God damn. Sorry, y'all. Let's check this out. All right. Another banger, or what are we listening to here?
in the darkness. Feel your bloodlust turn to madness. Have some nerve, you're begging for a shot. Blades and guns, but that's not gonna keep me down. The streets are violent, out of control. The city burns, ash and soul. Hold the line, never let go. I promise I'll fight until they fall. Fight till they fall. Voices echo as their bodies fall. Fading fresco, destiny was on the wall. The streets are silent, drowning in blood. You talented fate and lost to God. Left no stones unturned. I promise I'd fight until they fall. Deceive saints. Fight till they fall.
Cool.
Blood, you talented fate and lost to God.
This vocal style here feels a little Billie Eilish to me, almost. Very intimate.
And lost to God.
Cool. Love the track. It's giving me kind of like, it feels like a marriage between like a Grant track and I don't know if you're familiar with Gray and Virtual Ride, but they have a song that has like a similar feeling. So I love the track. Great arrangement, a lot of cool production going on. Mix is sounding good. You know, there's a few little things where it feels like, oh, that there's like a specific frequency range in like the vocal or the guitar where I feel like, oh, in this area it could be kind of trimmed a bit. So there's little things like that that might be worth considering. But I'm also seeing here, for example, the vocals are getting re-recorded, so I won't really focus on anything like that. I think that if I were to really the meat of if I have something to suggest that could potentially help, the meat of that would probably be for the drops. So let me take another listen to that real quick because I feel like everything up until there is sounding quite good. And the song very naturally progresses into the drops, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. But I did have some thoughts when I heard it the first time, so let me go back. So I love the arrangement is quite complex, and I think you're taking a big risk by kind of like taking this like more negative space approach to a drop, and I really love this kind of music because there's so many drops out there in EDM that are just fucking how do I just brick walled 4/4 giant wall of sound stuff that like is very big, and it can be very satisfying, but there's other ways to play around with impact and energy, and so I appreciate it when artists do this kind of stuff. Obviously Cone Sound are like, I think, some of the OGs of mastering kind of like drops with a lot of negative space, and I think that stuff is so cool. But anyways, I think you're really close to pulling it off. I do feel that it's leaning a little bit too much into the minimalism sound design wise. So I'll try to expand on that a little bit. Hold on. So that, hold on, let me count this out in measures. 1 second. 2, 3, 4. So you have that second measure, those entire 4 beats. I think it feels like there's nothing sound design wise happening there that is as present as the that little vocal guitar riff in the first measure. So the reason that that's important is because I think you lose some energy momentum in that second measure, and it would be really helpful to have some kind of sound design there that fills that space in a similar way. It doesn't have to be like, I don't want to, I wouldn't follow yo, what's up, Shiruedo? I wouldn't I'm not saying add just some obnoxiously loud bass sound for that entire second measure or anything like that. But I hear that dun 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 dun. I hear that guitar riff there in that second measure, but that's not enough, I think, to compete with the presence of that that riff that's happening in the first measure. Da, 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 da. Like something needs to happen there in the similar frequency range that complements the writing and also continues the momentum that you have there. So let me play it one more time. Like there's room there for example, if you wanted a little bit of negative space there or a little bit of subtlety, which again I think is really cool about what you have going on here. You could just have some kind of like screeching kind of bass sound popping in during beats 3 and 4 of that second measure. So it would go something like this, like those offbeat, or sorry, not the offbeat. The every second and fourth measure, I think is having that issue a little bit, where you're just missing a tiny bit of extra oomph to help keep that flow at the energy level that I think it should be. That's just my personal thought, but take it or leave it. Let's keep moving. Yeah, this section, really cool. I think it's a cool risk you're taking here to be like fuck yeah, fucking electric guitar solo for the drop. Like, that's sick. I think that the first drop, just to call back to the structure of that briefly, it's got a little bit of an A-B pattern going on, right? Measure 1 has that da 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 riff. Measure 2 is something else. And then again, then the next measure again has that kind of riff, da 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 da, but it's, slightly different notes, roughly the same thing. Now, the first time I heard this drop, I thought you were going to continue the A-B pattern, have, let's say, like that first measure be guitar soloing, and then the second measure would go back to some kind of like bass sound design. So I'm not saying you should change it to that, but you should consider that, because as much as I love just being like, fuck it, I'm going to have a guitar solo for the second drop, I feel that it could be nice to have some more sound design focused stuff as well. And, it's kind of like trading fours in jazz music, where like, you would have, one soloist.
Follow up.
What's up, DJ Dan? One soloist. Thanks for the follow. You'd have like a saxophone take 4 bars or 4 measures to solo. Then the drummer would take 4. Then the pianist would take 4. Then the drummer would take 4. And I feel like that could be kind of cool if you did something like that here, where the first measure is the guitar shredding like a solo there, and then you go back to kind of like this, and then you go back to the guitar again. So just some food for thought. But either way, I think that's really cool writing choice here, to kind of lean into the composition more so than the like sound design oriented drop. I think that's pretty rare to hear like an actual instrument being played in a drop these days. So I appreciate it. It's cool to hear, man. It's definitely to me it feels like you've taken some more risks in this track than I've heard you take before. So that's cool to see. But yeah, anyways, that's all I got for you, man. Let's roll on to the next person. Oh yeah, Raven. That's right. That's the track. That is the track, indeed. Sup, Moogard? What you got for us today? Speaking of acts you don't want to follow. Oh, I don't know why I opened that in a new tab, but let's check this out. All right, where are we going? Okay. Experimental trip hop. Getting like fly low vibes here. I like it. Cool. It's a cool idea. I like it. Definitely it's giving me some like brain feeder vibes, and that was a huge inspiration for me for many years. Is the whole Flying Lotus brain feeder movement. They're still alive and kicking right now, but I haven't really kept up with what kind of stuff they're releasing. But yeah, I like it. Feels very experimental and very trippy. Definitely feels like trip hop to me. This intro, I'm trying to think about like what feedback to give you here. The intro is it's pretty ballsy to have that much silence in between these breaks. I guarantee you, if people were like, if this came up on somebody's Discover Weekly on Spotify or something, they'd be like, "What? What? Oh shit! My like AirPods must have disconnected or something." And you know, that could be something you're doing intentionally, right? It could be kind of like something that might fuck with the listener a little bit, but I think it'd be cool if maybe there's at least like, if you're gonna take that approach, maybe there's just like one other element in here, like some vinyl crackling or something in the background. I don't know. Maybe that ruined the effect, but I almost feel like it's a little too much silence there, but that's just me. Yeah, it's a cool piece. And honestly, like the experimental nature of this kind of music, critiquing it is just so different because it's kind of like, I think a lot of trip hop and just more experimental music, it's like the flaws are part of the character. They're not something to be fixed. So it's a little bit harder to critique it because it's like, well, I don't know. Like, sure, if I had somehow come up with an idea similar to this, I probably would have done it very different. But that's not really the point, right? It's your song, it's your idea, and I feel like tracks like this, like genres and you know styles like this are they're designed to kind of be different. You know, maybe kind of like make you experience something a little out of the ordinary. So I don't really have anything else to say. So, it's intentional griefing. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more to tell you, but that's all I got for you, Moogard. Thanks for sharing, man. That was an experience. Let's keep moving. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling too hot right now, so I think I'm gonna do like one more track and call it because I'm feeling a little starting to get a little lightheaded and fatigued again, so my body's giving me signs I should probably try to lay down again pretty soon here. I was feeling all right, but yeah, over the last couple hours, it's starting getting a lot weirder. My track killed Mark. What's up, DJ Dan? What's going on? I'm sorry to everyone else that's here. I really wanted to stream longer today, but man, I have no symptoms. Well, not no symptoms, but like I basically all I'm getting is fatigue for some reason. Like everything else feels okay. It's like, damn, I just want my body to lock in and let me listen to music, but it feels like a bunch of weight is like being stacked on my shoulders and it's like fucking pulling me down right now. But yeah, what's up, DJ Dan? What you got? We might have to move on to someone else. Did Knoxville ever come back? Are you sleeping well? I am actually sleeping quite well, I think. I mean, I don't feel like I'm sleeping poorly, but maybe I didn't get enough rest last night. I don't know. All right, let's skip over DJ Dan. Looks like they might not be here. Let's re-roll. Hex Benjamin, what's up? You shall be our final listen for the day. God damn, this flu. Some bullshit. This is my 7th day with symptoms. Oh, we might have to skip Hex Benjamin too. You don't have a link to send a track? Oh, how did you... Well, how are you planning on sending me a track? Haywyre, what's your time zone? I'm in CDT. SoundCloud is totally fine, man. If you got a SoundCloud link, feel free to share that. Looks like Hex Benjamin stepped out too. So, DJ Dan, if you have a SoundCloud link, feel free to share that. We'll listen to it in there. Can I share a link here? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you did win the raffle right before Hex, so I didn't see anything from you, which is why I re-rolled. But now Hex Benjamin seems to be AFK, so it's all good. If you got something for us, feel free to share it. I'm going to wait a brief moment here. Okay, nice. What do we got? All I Want by Dan Strike. Mind me asking who the vocalist is?
Nothing more, hearts collide on the dance floor when I hear the crowd ignite. You're all I want tonight.
Thanks for the follow, Nini. Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like AI vocals to me, but I won't focus on that. Let's just keep listening for now.
I've been running through the night, chasing echoes in my mind. Every road was leading nowhere till your light crossed mine. In the silence,
is there anything else in here that's AI generated?
I feel you pulling me now. When the world is falling down, you're the truth I found. All I want, nothing more. Hearts collide on the dance floor when I hear the crowd ignite. You're all I want tonight.
Word. Okay, well, I've gone on several tangents talking a lot about my thoughts on AI, music. So I understand that you only used it for the vocals. So I'll judge the rest of the track and just ignore the vocals. So in my mind, I'm just gonna give you feedback on everything that you did and nothing AI generated. But also a quick footnote, like, I hate to keep bringing this up, and I don't want to bore people that are in the stream often enough to have heard me talk about this. But I just mentioned earlier on the stream how I love that Bandcamp drew the line and kind of said, like, we're going to do what we can to ban AI generative music, whether it's in part or a whole. I totally understand the appeal of using it for, let's say, sketching purposes or casual, like, hobbies, that kind of stuff. My thought is, though, that, like, hey, if you want to build a career as an artist, that you want a long-term relationship with music, a professional one, I wouldn't even bother with it. I wouldn't do it. And there's more reasons behind it. There's way more than just one. I mean, first of all, like, there's the legal aspect. If you're using something like Suno, the terms and conditions that you're signing for them to basically generate something on your song, they get exclusive rights to be able to train their models on what you're generating, what you're producing yourself. And, even if you get the rights while, like, if you're subscribed and you're paying for their services, the whole concept is hilarious to me, by the way, specifically with Suno. Suno is a very shady company. I wouldn't suggest using their services at all. I mean, they ripped the entire internet of every single piece of music that exists, and didn't try to get away with not paying anyone. Meanwhile, they're scooping up, subscription fees from anyone that wants to use their services, which I think is kind of hilarious. But yeah, there's lawsuits going on, so we'll see what happens there. Some major labels have already settled. The fallout from this is TBD, and I don't want to talk about it too long because I know it's probably kind of whatever. Most of you have heard me talk about this at this point, but there's the ethical side to it too, right? But it's also just like, if you do want have a long-term plan for a career in the music industry, I'm telling you, don't bother with it. Try to reach out to other people, friends, industry contacts. Find someone that can sing on this. You're going to learn and grow way more by working with people to do something like this. If you really want a vocal in your song, I'm telling you, this is my personal opinion. Take it or leave it. I think you're way better off in the long term. Don't rely on that kind of stuff. Make new connections. Have that one friend that maybe you're always thinking, like, man, they actually do have a good voice. Like, come in and, like, just try to record this or try to do it yourself. And you learn so much more through that process than you ever would by paying this company to generate something that it ripped from other artists that were never compensated properly in the first place, and then allowing them to have access to their training models to your music. Like, it's not a good deal, in my opinion. So just want to get that out of the way. I'm just putting that out there. That being said, I really like your drop. I'm sorry for going on that tirade. I think the drop is really cool. It gives me a Gesaffelstein kind of vibes a little bit. Definitely more houseier than Gesaffelstein. Maybe like it's kind of like a faster style of like that collab that Kill the Noise and Dylan Francis had. I Do Coke. Love that track. What's up, Charlie Crown? Thanks for the raid. But yeah, so I really like the style of the drop. It's cool. Let's see. In my personal opinion, like mix wise, like the kick is very, very aggressive. Mix wise, I think you could probably try to get rid of some of the mids a bit, just to make sure that like the presence of the kick versus the that bass sound, the staccato plucked bass sound is like a bit more comparable. Right now, I feel like the kick is too loud in comparison to that. Even if they're not conflicting when the kick is playing, it sounds like it's sidechaining it. They're still not like really matched, I think, in terms of their presence and their volume. Yeah, so and here in this section, I hear that like you have a some kind of snare clap type thing on 2 and 4, which is great and keeps the momentum going. But I feel like the presence is kind of getting lost in the mix. And again, I think like what? I just got double rated by the same person somehow. Thanks, Charlie. But yeah, I think that having some kind of snare hit, something that's a bit, has more presence there will help a lot on the 2s and 4s. Yo, what's up? And because right now that's getting lost in the mix, I think. And if you end up toning back the kick drum a bit, then that will actually probably help with this as well. So it's kind of a 2 birds with 1 stone type of thing. I mean, yeah, I can kind of hear it in the background. There's some kind of like clap type thing on the 2s and 4s, but yeah, you definitely need something with a little more presence in the mix, I think.
I've been running through the night.
Yeah, and again, I have pretty strong feelings about AI being like, look, this is the last track for it today, by the way, y'all. So thanks, Dan, for submitting that. That's all the feedback I got on your track, but yeah, I mean, I want to like to also say like I totally understand. There's plenty of awesome applications for AI. Like, there's no doubt about that, and it's more in the like utilitarian stuff. I like it, and productivity related stuff. I feel like there's way more potential in AI being used in the music world from a productivity standpoint in terms of like not generating stuff, but enabling, a workflow related stuff. So for example, I mean, I've thought about switching to Reaper for a long time, specifically to be able to, code custom actions that I do all the time. For example, a friend of mine, I've mentioned this before, he created this script that when he has a sample selected, let's say a snare, he runs the script with, a hotkey, presses a couple of buttons. And what it does is it creates a reverb that is reversed and gradually gets louder going into that snare, the selected sample, and then cuts off right when that sample starts. Super useful. Super, super useful. And that's a great example of something that can actually enable creative workflows and make you work better while keeping creative control. And like, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite in the long run and say like, there's no use for AI whatsoever. That's obviously not the case. But like, man, it just bums me out that like that a sketchy company like Suno is just dominating the space like that. But yeah, anyways, if Ableton became agentic, would you still use it? I'm not entirely sure what agentic even means. But if there was some kind of like interface in Ableton that was like prompt based, I don't know. If it was only that would suck. That would be terrible. So I don't see the point in that. But if it was in addition to what Ableton already had, like for sure I would use that. Not for creative purposes, but to be like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I would absolutely love to have like, I don't know, my AirPods in, walking around the studio and being like, hey, can you please add, my vocal rack version 2 on this vocal instead. And then instead of like, I love that idea of like being able to do it like that. Adding more flexibility to your personalized workflow. That's cool. But like, man, why? Yeah, I don't know. Just the ways that people are using it feels so, it's so whatever. It's so boring and lazy. Sorry, I'm not, again, it's not a personal attack on you, DJ Dan. I thought there was some really cool stuff going on in your track. Oh man, I'm sorry. Every time this comes up, I go on a rant. I was going to not do that, but no, I've too late. I mean, AI integrated into the workflow doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just depends, just how like, I don't know, not, it's just such a buzzword, and, I think people, sometimes it feels like just by saying something critical about AI, you get grouped into this like, oh, so you don't like technology at all. You're like I don't know, you're going to get left behind. And like, there's no, there's room for nuance here. You know what I mean? It's like, this is obviously it's a very useful, more recent technology. And there's going to continue to be great applications for it and tons of improvements. But, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical of it. And it's in fact really important to be skeptical of it because it's being used in really nefarious ways, and not just speaking creatively. I mean, not that I shouldn't get into political stuff, I guess, but there's some ways in which it's being used. That's not cool. Anyways, us artists have been on a negative receiving end of it, unfortunately, though. Yeah, for sure. It's just a demo, by the way. Yeah, for sure. No, that's fine, man. And I apologize if I made it sound like I was harping on you. But yeah, hey, record, like you said, if you want to record your own voice, for sure. Like, I would encourage that. But yeah, okay. If I keep talking, I'm just gonna keep ranting about about this shit. So I should probably call it here. But thank you guys for hanging out. I wish I could have gone longer, but I'm honestly not feeling too hot still. I don't know how this flu has been going on for so long. So I'm gonna take a breather, try to lie down here for a little bit. But thanks for hanging out, y'all. I'll be back on Sunday, and thanks for sharing all the awesome music. Got so many like talented people in here. It's crazy. But yeah, take care, y'all. And let's if any of you guys would like to share what you would have shared today next Friday, I would really appreciate it. I will make sure to stream much longer next Friday. I know I'll be better by then. So peace out, y'all. Thanks again. Later.